This is the case against Wednesday Addams, the Goth detective who survived another semester at Nevermore, barely. This time, the chaos wasn't around her, it was because of her. Let the prosecution begin. Exhibit A, the Enid prophecy. It started with a vision, a death. Enid, her claws, blood. And what did Wednesday do with this horrifying glimpse of the future? Did she hug her roommate, warn her, take a break from fencing to say, "Hey, you might die and I'm spiraling inside"? No. She stared blankly at a wall and treated it like a plot twist, because Wednesday Addams doesn't share. She hoards trauma like it's vintage taxidermy. She didn't confide in Enid. She investigated her, followed her, logged her sleep schedule like a goth Fitbit. She saw her roommate as a threat instead of a friend. She treated Enid like a suspect in her own murder. Talk about trust issues with fangs. And when Enid finally found out, she didn't scream, she didn't cry. She just looked like someone had run over her inner golden retriever. And the worst part? Wednesday still refused to explain herself. Not with words, not with vulnerability, not with a hug. Just more riddles and haunted girl brooding. Because saying, "I'm scared you'll die," would require a soul. Instead, she chose the emotional equivalent of assembling IKEA furniture blindfolded. Complex, avoidant, and guaranteed to leave at least one relationship missing a leg. Charge 1. Psychic negligence and willful withholding of death prophecy from closest emotional dependent. Exhibit B. The crow murders and the avian panic. Then came the birds, not metaphorical, literal, murder crows, hypnotized, weaponized, used in coordinated attacks against students at Nevermore. Wednesday didn't stop it, she documented it, turned a feathered death cult into a case file, while entire classrooms had to duck for their lives. The student body was under siege by Alfred Hitchcock's worst fever dream, and Wednesday treated it like an edgy scavenger hunt. The avian turned out to be Judy, the assistant, but for 3 episodes, it might as well have been Wednesday herself. That's how suspiciously calm she was. She showed more emotion about a dead typewriter ribbon than she did about aerial homicide. She even quoted Edgar Allan Poe, mid-attack. And let's not ignore the weird connection between Wednesday and birds in general. She talks to ravens like she thinks they're secretly working for the CIA and she's waiting for classified intel. She stares at flocks like they're delivering spoilers from the afterlife. It's not a hobby, it's a possible side quest in bird necromancy. Meanwhile, the rest of the school was making DIY helmets out of trash bins. And Wednesday, just calmly writing in her journal like the campus wasn't mid-airstrike. Charge 2. Failure to report a winged terror plot while maintaining suspicious bird sympathy and general aura of suspicion. Exhibit C. Tyler's return and the third-story window incident. Oh, Tyler. The barista, the monster, the walking red flag wrapped in good hair and trauma. He came back. Not reformed, not sorry. Just chained up in Willow Hill like a backup jump scare. Wednesday couldn't resist. She poked the beast, visited him, taunted him, and then, shocker, got thrown out of a third-story window. It's not a metaphor. She literally got hurled through a pane of glass like someone accidentally selected launch instead of exit on a haunted elevator ride. And still, she didn't call for help, didn't press charges, didn't even limp convincingly. Because in Wednesday's mind, almost dying is character development. She approached Tyler like he was an unsolved puzzle instead of a serial killer in a hoodie. She thought psychoanalyzing a Hyde was a good use of time. It wasn't bravery, it was main character syndrome with a concussion. And when she got bodied through a window, her response wasn't fear, it was, huh, noted. Charge 3. Reckless re-engagement with known Hyde resulting in public defenestration and broken plot armor. Exhibit D. The Pugsley problem. Enter Pugsley, her little brother, now taller, sparky, and full of static electricity powers. She barely acknowledged him. Didn't train him, didn't warn the teachers, just let him float around Nevermore like a lightning-charged liability. When he lit up the greenhouse by accident, her reaction wasn't panic, it was disappointment. As if spontaneous electrical combustion was a personality flaw. He needed mentorship, he got sarcasm. Pugsley came to Nevermore wide-eyed and hopeful. By mid-season, he was one power surge away from causing a botanical genocide, and Wednesday still hadn't taught him how not to fry a doorknob. You'd think she'd take him under her wing, or at least hand him gloves. Instead, she let him navigate supernatural puberty unsupervised, while she monologued about fate to a haunted mirror. Charge 4. Neglectful oversight of electrically volatile minor with emotional fragility and access to potting soil. Exhibit E. Power loss and the case of the broken brain cell. Mid-season, Wednesday lost her visions, her psychic powers, gone, vanished like her emotional availability. And did she react like a normal human being? No. She spiraled into moody cello concerts and investigative overdrive. Rather than ask for help, she doubled down on being the only one who can fix this. It wasn't heroism, it was intellectual narcissism dressed in funeral couture. She didn't communicate, she theorized. She didn't pause, she obsessed. The world became a puzzle and she was the only one smart enough to suffer through it. Losing her powers should have been humbling. Instead, it became her latest excuse to emotionally ghost the entire cast. She didn't say, "I'm scared." She said, "Silence, I'm working." And then stabbed a wall for dramatic effect. Charge 5. Overcompensation for psychic dysfunction through unauthorized emotional withholding and cello abuse. Exhibit F, Nevermore fame and the Dort situation. Principal Weems is dead. Long live Principal Dort. Played by Steve Buscemi with the energy of a substitute teacher who stopped trying in 1998, Wednesday instantly challenged him, ignored school policies, broke curfew, led unsanctioned student raids. She didn't just break the rules, she branded herself as the rule-breaking savior, and the other students followed. Because when a girl with bangs and a body count tells you to trust her, you listen. She hijacked assemblies, side-eyed safety protocols, turned mandatory field trips into horror movie trailers. Principal Dort tried. He really did. But it's hard to run a school when your biggest liability is trending on Dead Talk every time there's a murder. Charge 6. Unauthorized cult leadership via moral superiority complex and violation of the academic chain of command. Exhibit G. The Willow Hill break-in. At this point, things were unraveling. Wednesday suspected conspiracies, government lies, and brainwashed experiments. So naturally, she broke into a maximum security asylum with her uncle. In a disguise, Uncle Fester posed as a janitor. She posed as invisible. They hacked files, stole medical documents, and confronted a mind-wiped patient with no exit plan. It wasn't bravery, it was Breaking Bad, Goth edition. She committed actual felonies in the name of truth with less planning than a school dance. The guards were asleep. The plan was chaos. And the ethics? Left in the morgue 3 episodes ago. She didn't brief anyone, didn't have backup, just winged it, because winging it is her love language. Charge 7. Illegal access to psychiatric records, facility breach, and endangerment of disguised uncle with no formal training. Wednesday Addams doesn't kill people. She just lets chaos do the job. She walks into every disaster like it's a runway, weaponizes silence, romanticizes pain, and calls it growth. She sees visions of death, and instead of screaming, she investigates. But here's the thing, when the emotional body count starts stacking up, you don't need a confession, you need a verdict, because Wednesday didn't just survive season 2, she architected it. She didn't lose control, she handed it off to her reflection and said, "Handle it." Then lit a candle and stared dramatically into the void. The charges. Failure to warn roommate about impending werewolf death. Passive complicity in avian-based homicide epidemic. Re-traumatizing a known monster for fun and plot. Sibling neglect resulting in electrified horticulture. Psychic dysfunction with overcompensated ego spiral. Cultish subversion of school hierarchy for vibes. Breaking into asylums like it's a side quest in Skyrim. Wednesday Addams, not a villain, not a hero, just a girl with a coffin-shaped heart and a rap sheet that reads like gothic poetry. The court sentences her to 1 mandatory group hug with Enid, 30 hours of sibling bonding with live wires, and a ban on entering psychiatric hospitals for at least 2 seasons. If you think this trial was wild, just wait. Because what's coming next? Let's just say the court's about to unseal something even darker. Stay alert and don't trust anyone, not even your reflection.